We're live. Hello, everybody. Today, the letter from the chairman came out, and this is a very, very significant change from past years, from what I heard, from what I gather. And I've only been in the game for a year, and this is the second time that I've heard from Chris Roberts in 1 year, within the year. So, um, we're going to jump from the beginning of the letter down to looking forward the road to Alpha 4.0. This is a very monumental letter that he's saying that he was written, and I'd like to welcome Void Walker Joe, and we're going to go through this letter, review it, and get our thoughts.
So
Hope you enjoy. Go ahead.
for for anybody that's wondering, the reason why we're skipping down to the road to Alpha 4.0 is because the essentially the first three-fourths of the letter is Chris Roberts kind of going through the rest of 2022, how it's gone, that kind of thing. And the road to Alpha 4.0 is essentially our first look at what CIG wants to do for 2023 and as far as what they want to get accomplished and kind of their expectations. So that's where we're going to start reading.
Alrighty. So, all right, looking forward, the road to Alpha 4.0. Uh, this coming year is going to be a huge one for Star Citizen, possibly its biggest one to date. The first order of business is to continue to stabilize Alpha 318 so we can release to the live servers in January once the team is back from their well earned holiday break, which they do deserve wholeheartedly. With the way Wave 1 came out, even though it was very, very raw and choppy the first couple days, it has gotten better. Um, I can attest to this due to the fact that I have been testing things, and it has gotten a whole lot better from the first two 2 days. And I think Joe can agree with me on that one.
It's gotten better in areas and it's gotten worse in some other areas.
True,
Um,
true.
but yeah, they need a break. They didn't get breaks. They wouldn't want to work there.
Right,
So we need them to work there. So we'll give them whatever break they need.
right.
Let them have their New Year's.
Um, okay. And then we will continue to harden PES, improving aspects and adding some additional quality of life features, including the ability to choose which PES shard you would like to join. Yes, very important.
Um,
Go ahead.
they, I don't remember when they say it, but they say, as of this moment, the
Matchmaking
game.
isn't working.
Well, at the moment, the 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 game will prioritize whatever shard you 30k'd from, or crashed from,
Mm-hmm.
or logged out of from, like last.
Yeah.
And it prioritizes that and tries to get you back into that same shard. And if it's busy, it just puts you in a new one.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where this comes into play, where you can keep track of your shard and choose which shard you want to be in, which is good.
Mm-hmm. And this will, well, they said that the matchmaking wasn't going to be working very well. And that's why they didn't put it in
Mm-hmm.
318. And they said they were going to flush it out and get it working in the next iteration. So it may be a hot fix for all we know. When they come back, it may be a hot fix, or it may be uh, a 318.1.
I think before we get this, it'll definitely be a point whatever patch.
Yeah,
It won't be a hot fix, I don't think. 'Cause that's pretty big, you know.
yeah,
That's a pretty big one.
yeah. Okay, so, oh, hold on, I'm getting a message. If you go ahead, okay, okay. So, uh, the current game server slash PES shard matchmaking tries to match you to the last PES shard you were in when you log back in or recover from a crash. But if that shard is full, it places you in a different one. But in the short term, before server meshing makes this not so necessary, we also want to give players the choice to wait in a queue for their preferred shard if it is full. Hmm. Your thoughts?
As long as it works, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I I really commend them for actually giving us
Mm-hmm.
these choices. You know, these are very odd choices to have,
Yeah.
but it's like it's their workaround to give us kind of they're really focusing on kind of like making sure we get to experience um, PES and the persistence and everything in its full, because yeah, I've never heard of any other developer actually going out of their way to just give you that kind of choice to wait in a queue for your shard if it's full. That's crazy to me. I
Yeah,
didn't expect us to have this, but
it's
it's
kind of awesome if you think about it. If you want to go
it
back to that server, you know?
it is, and you know, one day we won't need this, and then it's gonna
Right.
be out, and that's gonna be a huge day for us to realize. Oh, remember we had to wait in a queue for our shard or
Yeah.
whatever. Uh, yeah, so it's really gonna be fun, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of dabbling with these little tools that they're giving us.
Okay. Um, so we'll go to the next. The next step will be to separate the replication layer, the RL, in memory cache that remembers all dynamic objects state from the game server and have scalable replication layer, RL, workers that communicate the state changes between the various game client servers and the RL. Interesting. Okay. This is very important for server meshing. There's the words.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna see it a
As
lot.
right, as universe state needs to be fully decoupled from server state. It will also make Star Citizen much more crash resilient on the client side, as a server crash will no longer take down the replication layer as well, meaning that clients can stay connected while a new server takes over where the last one left off. It will also have the added benefit of having the view every client has of the universe around it to be a little more fluid with less lag, as the client update and refresh of object state will no longer be tied to the tick rate of the game server. That's cool. Hey, Voodoo Tube, welcome. Welcome. This was a quick stream about the letter from the chairman. I'm glad you joined the stream. Um, okay, that's a big one, Joe. The tick rate has been a problem for a while. Um, Because of that, you see the AI just standing around, standing on this, not doing anything. Um, this is a big one. This is a big one.
Yeah, it's nice that it's not going to be a part of what they say. Yeah, the universe state won't be a part of the server state, and so all that stuff is not going to affect anything in a negative way from what it looks like. And like you were saying, the tick rate's gonna it's no longer gonna be tied to the game server, so that's good. It'll help with lag and all that stuff to make it more fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see. I don't know when they're gonna do it. Um, hopefully, hopefully soon.
Yeah. I, I I think it's going to be a good thing. It is one of those things that really a lot of people were saying that the tick rate was a major issue all the time. And with this, it's not going to um, hurt the game. Okay, it says this means players will see state changes from other remote clients and game servers as they happen at the rates the various clients and servers push them. So if I'm getting this correctly, if you're running a lower um, end system, your system is going to run at a different rate from everybody else's, but you won't be affected. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a little kind of. I'm not exactly sure what they mean by it, honestly, and what that's gonna entail. I'd have to kind of look more into that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree. I agree. That's something that we need to get with King on. Uh, okay. Um, Once this happens, we'll be able to have multiple game servers communicate with the replication layer, much like multiple game clients communicate right now with the replication layer, allowing Star Citizen to have multiple servers simulating the universe state, which we call server meshing, SM. They love doing that, breaking stuff down to acronyms.
yeah, I mean, it makes everything easier.
Yeah, yeah,
For
but
us, I don't know. It's like we were in the military, so
right,
we were in fucking acronym hell.
yeah, right.
But yeah,
Okay, so we'll go to the next step. Okay, we will start with static server meshing, where different servers are assigned to simulate different entity zones in a star system. Entity zones, sometimes referred to as local grids, are separate simulation areas inside of a spaceship, is a different zone to the space around which the spaceship flies. A planet is a different zone than the star system zone where all the planets and moons exist in. And the landing zone be can be can also be a different zone, nested inside the planet zone, nested in the star system zone. Wow, that was a mouthful. Okay. Um, hmm. That's really. I mean, he broke it down to try and make it not as technical as it is, but that's a lot.
it yeah he made it easy to understand, I think. But
Yes.
the part that we don't know is just how is it gonna when they do manage to get static server meshing in, like how it actually is gonna affect the
Mm-hmm.
state of the game, and if we're gonna see any sort of um, differences in performance or how things get loaded in the game, or kind of like when we're flying around and things kind of like pop in. I don't know if it's going to affect anything like that. Um, when things blow up in game,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see because essentially the different entity zones are kind of nested within each other, you know, and yeah, I'm interested to know how they're going to kind of react to each other in different states because I mean it's something that I've never heard of server meshing until really following this game. So I think it'll be interesting to
Well,
see when it first comes out.
from what I gather, and I don't know if this, I would imagine it's been around for a long time, and they're saying that WoW has server meshing, okay? But
Okay.
look at it like this, and you and I were talking about this the other night, that Star Citizen Squadron 42, both the same game essentially, okay, are built from nothing. They made everything to get to this point. So this is why it's taking a while, because they're making their tools to work with existing technology.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta think. I mean, I'm not trying to be a white knight or anything like that. It's just that you got to give them time to get their stuff together. Without their tools, we wouldn't have what we have, and they had to make all that stuff from scratch. So I get I get what they're saying and what they're doing, and it takes time. And if it doesn't come to fruition with one idea, they have to go to another. But this is where they need to communicate, being transparent and saying, okay, this didn't work for us, we're working on something else. And in the letter from the chairman in May, that's when we found out that iCache, what they were originally using, didn't scale well enough, and that's why they dumped it, and that's why they went to PES. Makes sense. But they should have said that, and let people know why these things were happening, and this is this is we're in it now. We're in fruition of PES in its infancy. And there are a lot of things that are going on in the PTU right now that are freaking amazing. All those wrecks that we've been finding.
Yeah, being able to just fly around anywhere. Um, it's crazy. People a lot of complaints before PES came out. People were saying that, oh, we're never gonna find these wrecks. We're never gonna find ships. It's gonna be too hard. They're everywhere.
How many did we find
They're everywhere.
the
Everywhere.
other
I mean,
night?
honestly, if you're jumping to somewhere,
Yeah.
any sort of location
Mm-hmm.
that someone can visit,
Yeah.
there. Hold on, I gotta knock at the door.
Sure. Um, the other day when Joe and I were out and about doing, we went to the Daymar crash site with the 600i and the Mercury Star Runner, and there were ships that were there, just there. The owners of the ships were not there. Their ships were there, but that was it. And that was amazing because we actually got to see um, PES working. it was awesome. If you have any questions or comments or anything, uh, please feel free to type in the chat and let me know what you're thinking, and I'll answer your question as long as I'm able to. Um, I'm gonna wait for Joe to get back so we can step on to the next thing. But this is some very interesting. This is pretty interesting.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no
Um,
worry.
but yeah, anyways, yeah, that was a big concern that everybody had. But there's stuff everywhere now.
Yeah,
Stuff everywhere. There's trash everywhere.
yeah,
And we're only in the PTU.
right.
So,
Last night I
and
saw I saw soda cans, Sin Energy bottles, um, burgers. I mean, just all over the place. you know.
anybody that logs out of their ship has a client crash, has 30K, um,
Hmm.
dies, and respawns somewhere else, their body and their ship is still going to be there. And so there's a lot to salvage.
Yeah, yeah. So, wow, that's uh, that's big stuff. Okay. Different entity zones. Okay, we're at first. The servers will be bound to fixed zones, but will quickly move to dynamic server meshing version 1, where we assign servers dynamically to entity zones based on gameplay and simulation load. Up, simulation load. Now, what does that sound like? Quanta? Maybe?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe?
I don't know if that's a stretch. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying maybe at this point. I'm
I think
only
I think when they say that, they might be talking about everything. But I don't know.
um,
Um,
Voodoo Tube says I'm only playing very casually until Squadron 42 comes out. Everybody's waiting for S42, man.
Even
uh,
if they don't want Squadron 42, they have no choice but to wait for it.
you're right, because Squadron 42 technology is coming to SC. So let's see, where were we? This will be a much more efficient use of the servers in the cloud, as you only need servers where the players are. Whereas with static server meshing, you have servers assigned to zones even if there are no players there. Interesting. So, we go to dynamic server meshing version 2, which will take this dynamic assignment of servers one step further by subdividing entity zones into simulation islands. This is organizing the dynamic objects in one zone, local grid, into different groups based on which objects can interact, collide with each other, allowing these islands to be distributed between servers to again help balance the simulation load. That makes sense because you
So there you go.
definitely, yeah.
That's them talking back up to what you were wondering what the simulation load was.
Mm-hmm. Okay, at this point, we should be able to handle tens of thousands of players, all playing in the same PES universe shard, bringing Star Citizen much closer to the ultimate goal of a huge living universe densely populated with players and AI. Once we achieve static server meshing, we can open the universe of Star Citizen to other star systems, starting with Pyro. by having authority pass from one server to another, you'll be able to transition seamlessly without the need to log out of the game between star systems. And that is a big thing. That's the main thing. If you can go without having a loading screen and you're actually flying and doing things on the ship while you're moving and transitioning from one system to another, that is a major thing.
Well, we'd be doing it with all the first implementations of server meshing into just Stanton alone. We
Yes.
would already be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, everything kind of being in its own little world,
Mm-hmm.
and like different parts of the system being on their own servers, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we would already have a taste of what it's going to be like. I mean, we're not going to notice it, but we're just going and doing whatever we're doing. It'll be seamless, and
Well,
that's exactly it'll be the same thing as going to Pyro.
the thing we actually do it now. If you think about it, going from
Not the way
they're
described
explaining it.
in the letter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's going to change too. It's still going
Yeah.
to be seamless, but it'll be better.
Right. It's going to be 100 times better. You won't see a stoppage like we do when we're doing quantum sometimes. You'll see a stoppage and then all of a sudden keep going. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Okay. The next part of the letter. We are aiming to put static server meshing and Pyro into the hands of players in the fourth quarter of 2023.
Nope. Nope.
He says aiming. Okay?
Yeah.
Aiming.
Yeah. I honestly, my prediction is it'll be first quarter of 2024.
Well, he says the large caveat with this goal is that complicated engineering work that involves a completely
Yeah.
new what is that word?
If we just have one good derail from their schedule, then it puts it into the next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if one thing goes wrong with server meshing, where it takes them an extra month to figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it'll be pushed into the next year.
Right.
And we're probably going to have at least 3 or 4 different things going down about it. So,
Yeah. A completely new paradigm requires a host of new
Paradigm,
back
right?
end. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I don't know how to say it.
it's okay.
All
Paradigm.
right. Paradigm. Interesting. I thought it would have an E at the end in the end. But well, anyway, requires a host of new back-end services. And here we go. The technology is hard to estimate and schedule accurately, as the issues and problems that come up along the way are hard to foresee, as no one has implemented this system before. Now, they're saying they've never done it. But
The way they're doing it.
right. So they're taking something and they're doing something totally different.
Other developers have similar tools, but use it in a completely different way
Yes.
than CIG would. So
Right.
it's technically like in the way they develop their tools, it
It's-
ends up being a whole new beast.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. It's hard to estimate a couple of okay, so and plans rarely survive contact with the users, especially at scale. This has has been true for PES, as it is no secret that we were hoping to have Alpha 3.18 and PES released live by the end of the year as opposed to just the PTU. Delays in finalizing 318 and PES impact the team's ability to start on the next stage, and we still have the unknowns of how PES performs after months of heavy load, and people seeing exactly how much space junk they can leave
Oh,
around.
yeah, we're already seeing it in the PTU.
We're seeing it. Uh, Beyond this, there are a host of other exciting features and content we have planned for 2023. Pyro, with its assorted planets, moons, settlements, space stations, and assorted factions and AI population being the headline, but we also will be rolling out the new item resource system
Oh, baby.
in ships, which replaces the old pipe system with a much more dynamic and scalable system to allow for truly emergent behavior. In fact, elements of this new system can already be seen in 318 in the salvage gameplay.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Bounty hunting with a full tracking system and the ability to actively restrain and transport both players and AI. Persistent hangars!
With
Yes,
freight elevators.
with freight elevators allowing you to call up your stored inventory or place things into storage. Towards the end of the year, we should see some of the more Squadron 42 related work arrive in Star Citizen.
There you go.
More flexible player traversal, especially on ladders and ledges, a greatly improved interaction system, FPS scanning, the new star map, MDFs using more performant and flexible building blocks UI system, and much deeper combat AI. Now that the Gen 12 renderer is functioning in 318, the graphics team will be working on multi-threading improvements and optimizations for the renderer as well as hook up the Vulkan graphics API to it to unlock some of the performance gains that the Gen 12 renderer can provide. Nice. There are numerous things the Star Citizen team are working on for this coming year, but this letter is already long enough. Not to me. I can read all day, dude. Okay. And final thoughts. Looking back on 2022, it has been gratifying to see Cloud Imperium and the Star Citizen community grow. We ended the year with 861 employees, and the community grew to more than 4 million accounts and 1.8 million backers, accounts that have purchased Star Citizen. We achieved a lot this year, including our moves to two wonderful new homes for most of our staff. We fell short on a few others, like having 318 and PES fully live before the end of the year, but this is the nature of game development that tries to go that tries to go boldly go where no game has gone before. He didn't go there, did he? Yeah, he did. What has especially been great is just how much more time people are spending playing Star Citizen this year. This had to do a lot with the increased player count and improved stability, but also Star Citizen, even in its alpha state, is already feature and content rich with a huge number of things to do with your friends or solo. and this list grows larger with every patch. Okay. The universe and how you interact with it is up to you. From exploring to hauling, trading, mining, salvage, refueling, refining, bounty hunting, piracy, to being a hired gun, to just sightseeing and being a social butterfly. And that is just what we have now. In the future, you'll be able to, farm or gather resources, build, craft, and sell. The universe of Star Citizen is a huge sandbox for everyone to play in, and I couldn't be more excited by what the future holds. Excuse me. Star Citizen is more than just a game. It is an escape to another reality where anyone can pursue their imagination, not bound to any single playstyle profession, where they can interact with other players that share the same common dream. I feel incredibly lucky and privileged to have the opportunity to pursue this dream with the amazingly talented team at Cloud Imperium and their support and patience of the best community in gaming, the Star Citizen community. From all of us at Cloud Imperium, we wish you all Happy New Year and can't wait to continue the journey with you in 2023. Chris Roberts, founder and CEO. And that's the one part of the letter. So, this is where um,
Squadron 42 is finally everything that they've been working on in Squadron 42 is finally going to see its way over into the PU. All the stuff that we've been waiting for years now.
yeah,
And this answers a question of, because we saw all of this during CitizenCon. They showed off most of these different features, and I'm sitting here like, well, they're working on it, but when are they trying to get it in the game? And it's great that all of it looks like it's hopefully most of it will make it next year, because I know there's at least a couple of these going to get delayed, but that damn star map better fucking make it. If anything makes it, this and the new traversal stuff, like
yes.
just the simple stuff like ladders and ledges and
I can't wait for the EVA.
that too. That needs to come. Just everything is so clunky right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that you realize when you first start playing the game. You're like, oh wow, this is funky. Oh wow, platforming kind of sucks. Oh man, like interacting with things kind of sucks.
Yeah,
But you get used to it, and then it becomes easy,
yeah,
and then you don't even think about it anymore
right.
until bugs happen, and you're like, oh man,
Yeah,
I just clicked through something, and just because of I don't know, or you see the way your player's jumping, and you're like,
mm-hmm.
odd. But um. But yeah, all of just the basic stuff we've been asking for so long. It's
Yeah,
finally gonna come.
yeah,
I'm really interested in the deeper AI combat too, because at that point, when they're ready to roll that out, um, hopefully they'll have some part of server meshing in there,
mm-hmm.
but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm optimistic about what's going to come, but I want to keep my expectations at a minimum.
Some stuff are gonna get delayed, and you
Yeah,
gotta, and
eh,
then you gotta think. Also, just be prepared for server meshing to get delayed until early 24. Just already have that in your head.
yeah,
At a minimum, just say that. Just keep
yeah,
telling yourself that, because it most likely it will.
Yeah.
Um,
But at this point in time, I'd rather have the optimism, but at a low.
oh, I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
inside right now, just knowing what they're trying to do for next year. It's even if they get only half of this stuff in somehow,
Hmm.
um, all of it are things that's going to make our lives so much easier in games. So the more, even if we just get a couple, like it's still like it's the further we go, the better the game is going to play, perform, the better experience we're going to have, the more playable it's going to get. And, with all of this, it's just, yeah, it might be, I think, it has the potential to being the biggest year for Star Citizen. This is like
Yes.
legitimately the start. This could legitimately be the start of um, the beginning of what Star Citizen vision is to
Yes.
actually being a reality.
Yeah.
So we just need to hope that things go pretty decently,
Hmm.
and things that, I think the worst is they come out and be like, oh, sorry guys, server meshing kind of isn't going to be our solution. And then they scrap it like iCache. But
Well, I'm
I can't,
crossing my fingers that it doesn't go to that point.
I really, I'm like, I'm almost dead set and
Hmm.
saying and being confident in the fact that it'll be fine.
Hmm.
Like they're going to have issues, but they'll be able to fix it,
Yeah.
I think.
But I mean, with the letter that came out in May, okay, which was to me being involved in the game in my first year, okay, it made me optimistic of what was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and
Absolutely.
I mean, how could you not be optimistic if you didn't know the past? If you knew the past, you kind of took it. Some people took it with a grain of salt,
That's what you got to do. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, like I say, me being all hyped into the game and all like that, I'm like all excited. I'm like, yeah, let's rock, dude. And and when we kept getting 317.1,
Getting your first
317.2,
first dose of disappointment.
and 317.3, and then 317.4, and no, you know, PTU tests and anything like that. I just kept playing. I just kept playing. I said, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. And when 318 Wave 1 hit, way past what it was supposed to be, I said, I knew they were going to do it. I just had to be patient with them and give them time. You know? And I'm living by that right now. I'm living by that right now. With what he says and what's going to come, take it take it as it comes. Take it as it comes. Don't push it.
Hmm.
Let them do their job. Let them get it done. If they got a problem, all they got to do is say something. We're having issues and we're going to delay something. I'd rather them have delays and get it right than throw it out there and have a piece of junk.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think they just need to be a little bit better with communication, and if they do
True.
that,
True.
it should be a decent year.
Yeah.
There shouldn't really be too many complaints.
Yeah. But I
Um,
think they're doing a whole lot better than what they. From what I hear, they're starting to be more communicative, but they're not saying when they're having issues. You know what I'm. If you know what I mean.
mhm.
I'd rather them have um, issues and put them out there and say, okay, that we're having a problem like this, and we're going to delay due to the fact that we're having this issue. That's that's all I mean, I'm not asking, but I know a lot of people are asking. And when 318 did not drop on around the 16th of December, we, you know, and we didn't get any type of wave one. It was all Evocati this, Evocati that. We knew they were having issues.
Mm.
So, you know, like I said,
Yeah, I'm never really, you know, the the performance of the game right now can sometimes be frustrating, and then some of the delays are frustrating. Um, but I can't really say that my honeymoon phase for the game ever really went away. It
yeah.
kind of it kind of gets resparked. The kindling kind of gets sparked up again.
Yeah.
The romance kind of comes back with each little thing they start adding, especially with 318. That was
Right.
the biggest step.
Right. Hey
Um,
Roland, welcome, man. How you doing? Um this was the letter from the chairman. Sorry, Joe, didn't mean to cut you off. Roland, I
no, you're
haven't
good.
seen him for a couple days.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. But this was I just am glad that he did put something out before the end of the year. And he said something. He didn't wait till next May. You
And
know
he
what I'm
didn't put
saying?
out. He didn't promise anything like he's done in the past. He didn't put out any dates. He put out, a an if things go well, this
Mm-hmm.
is our projected, like,
Mm-hmm.
where we would hope to be at with these different game mechanics and stuff like that. And I think overall it was a really good letter. I think he did good. I
Yeah.
don't think there's really anything to complain about there.
No.
And
I think he
I'm really
explained
happy.
things. Yeah.
I'm just really happy to hear on, most of, maybe 80% of what they're working on for the year.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's going to be more. There's some sneaky ones that are going to make it.
Well,
Uh,
I'm sorry. The sneakiest thing that they did was throwing in the small amount of crafting.
oh yeah, yeah.
That was nobody said anything.
Well, even when it was just before they announced that they were adding the multi-tool attachment crafting,
Yeah.
that it was just the RMC can for your multi-tool. No one really thought about that at
Right.
all as being crafting until they kind of came out and said, "Oh, there's multi-tool attachments now that you can craft."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was a huge thing. That was just like nobody really came out and announced it. It was just some CIG guy that I've never heard of. He comes out
Oh,
on
we're
the dev tracker and he just posts on Spectrum.
right.
He's like, "Oh, by the way, this is being thrown in there," and you're like, "What? That's huge!"
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That
Why
was
am I hearing about this on
right.
Spectrum? Why isn't this not like
A
a
com link or something, right? But it was
something?
massive.
Yeah, it was a reply to somebody.
Right. It was a massive, massive thing. I mean, okay, I've played games that had crafting. You had to get this element and this element and this element to make this thing. Okay? This is a first stage of the RMC being utilized for something other than selling. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and that kind of just shows you too that I think it kind of proves that they have their main plans of what they want to get done, and
Mm-hmm.
if things start to go well,
Mm-hmm.
they start to, you know, internally they go, oh well, we could easily push this thing out that we haven't done yet, or
Right.
they get these ideas like the whole um, multi-tool attachment crafting thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of comes up, and they're like, "Yeah, we could do this now.
Mm-hmm.
We could get this done." With it's like the racetracks and everything. Oh, we can get this done in a weekend and just throw it out there.
Yeah.
So
And I
we're gonna
mean,
get. I mean, the throughout next year, I think we're gonna see a lot of that kind of stuff gonna come out more often with
but the racetrack thing was somebody did that in their spare time. They didn't have to do that.
well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that alone, for next year, you know,
Yeah.
it's gonna. I think they're gonna give us a lot of stuff we didn't really expect.
Yeah. And that you know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm not being a jerk or anything like that, or I'm saying that they didn't have to do this, but that shows that they give a damn about the community because they saw how much that people loved doing that one thing, and they said, you know what? Let's give them something. Let's give them
Yeah.
something, and we'll do it on our spare time.
Well, that was those. That was just for. That was a test to
Yeah,
get new hires up to speed
yeah,
on their systems on how to just do their job.
yeah. Like the
And
coffee vendor.
that in itself was like that's just so cool. Like we got a feature that was just a new hire thing.
Right. The coffee vendor thing, everybody freaked out about that. If you remember when they said, "Oh, we're putting a coffee vendor in Area 18," and everybody's like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." That was somebody's entry level test to bring them on board and make it work. And it works very well.
Hmm.
And with that, it's just like the racetracks. Same exact thing, just like you said. It was an onboarding process. They say somebody said that it takes them at least 6 to 8 to almost a year to onboard somebody new, you know, to use their tools. And that makes sense because it takes time to learn all that shit.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll say this like as somebody who's um at the moment learning like animation
Mm-hmm.
and all of that and does video editing and all this other stuff. I use all these programs and they all are essentially the same to a point. They all have the same kind of functions and uh, you know, features and everything like that and the
Mm-hmm.
layout's not too different.
Mm-hmm.
So, the guys that they hire, they're proficient in something and then they got to come over to the custom tools that they have
Mm-hmm.
within internally, for CIG, and that it takes a little bit of time, but it's not that hard to transfer over from what because it should still be um, the same old stuff. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
too different from what they've already learned on other programs. It just kind of like it all your knowledge kind of just transfers over,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that kind of like what you said with how long it takes them to kind of get used to it. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I I think we can call this one to a close. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Um, I'm just gonna say that from what I've read in this letter, just the future parts is exciting. It makes me more excited to be a part of the game and to help new people transition into the game from what they've played before. This game is a different animal from others that you have played. Um, I've played FPS years ago, This is something that is totally new to me, even though the some of the mechanics are the same, but the immersion and the realism in certain aspects are nothing that I've ever touched before. And I was a diehard Ghost Recon player. I love Ghost Recon. And coming into this, I was so used to playing in third person, right? Instead of first person, that I was I had to transition into a first person type of scenario.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, yeah. Ghost Recon, when you play it, you're playing in third person a lot.
Hmm.
And then when you jump into and you're in a firefight and you're using your weapon, then you go into first person. You can. But it was a big transition. And now I can't even see myself going back to that because I'm so used to playing first person now.
Oh yeah, going back and playing, trying to play console games now. You're just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
I'll play I'll play it for the story, but after that, I'm done. I don't like the, well, for me, I've never really been into multiplayer games or MMOs or anything like that.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but starting to play this game, what I had to get accustomed to that I wasn't used to
Mm-hmm.
is playing with
Mm-hmm.
strangers and, um, you know, the org thing, the whole community
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah.
It's so um, insane with how much depth the community kind of brings to the table for the game,
Yeah.
and without the community, this game would suck,
Yes.
honestly.
Yes.
And like everybody would be out by themselves, and it would just kind of
It
there wouldn't
would
be much
be
life to it. It would,
well,
yeah,
everybody would be fighting over something silly if you think about it. Everybody it would be every man for themselves. There would be no communication whatsoever. It would be total chaos if there wasn't if the organizations were not there to bring people together and have them work as a team. It would be a constant every uh, capture the flag. If you were lucky, you would get on a team with somebody. And could you trust them? That's the thing
well,
too.
it would end up being like any other space game out there that we already have.
Well,
Um,
it look at it like this. It would be modern warfare, okay? And every man for themselves. That's where I think it would be. And
I think it would be different, but
I'm not into that though. I'm not into it.
yeah. Well, that whole step into the community, it was um, scary at first, just because I didn't really care about playing with other people and getting to know them and having a
True.
Discord and, but
True.
it we've talked about it before on our
Mm-hmm.
other podcasts that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, it, I learned so much just from being into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Like, I started a YouTube channel and I learned video editing because of it. I learned how to manage an org and have a Discord server and figure out all of that. And then,
Mm-hmm.
um, my God, you get into flight sticks
Yes.
and you get into computer gear and
Yeah.
I built a $4,000 PC. But it was like that. It was half the reason why I did that was because of
I
the
love
game.
the
And
game
then
so much.
what else? Oh yeah, I got into 3D printing because I
Yeah.
wanted to. I figured out that you can do that. You can actually have make your own Star Citizen models and stuff like that. Print more than just that, but that was a big reason why I was like, oh, I could do this. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. And I learned how to paint because of that. So yeah, there's a lot of things. And then I have a lot of really good friends because of the community,
Right.
like you and a bunch of other people in my org.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it kind of branches off into this crazy thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's different for other people, but for me, I guess I went a little overboard.
Well, I mean, I can't say that when, like I say, when I first saw the game 3 years ago, and knew that it was like really cool, and when I did my first month, and hey Mike, what's up? And I was just ecstatic of what the game gave me when I first walked into Lorville, even though I was didn't have everything set up correctly. It was a whole new world of possibilities that gave me the dream since I was 8 years old. And
Hmm.
can't touch that. Nothing can touch that.
And it's about to get better too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But anyway, I think we are all good. If you've got any questions, comments, please leave them in the, well, actually, if we're getting ready to get off, in the comments, and I will answer right away. If I don't get to the comments within 24 hours, trust me, I will answer you. So I try to answer every question that comes up or comment that you have, and I'm trying to really be connected with the community that I have and my supporters and followers and viewers. I appreciate you all. I'm at 102 right now, and I thank you. And I'm working on a project, and it will come to fruition soon. So I appreciate it. And Joe, you got anything to say or where the people can find you?
Oh, I'm Voidwalker Joe on YouTube, and have my own org called The Lost Julie, which is open for pretty much anybody. And then, other than that, maybe go ahead and put the link of the letter in the description of the video, so everybody can click on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it.
Alrighty. And that's it. And I appreciate your call coming and listening to us kind of rant about Star Citizen and Chris Roberts' letter from the chairman. And I appreciate you all coming, and we'll see you in 318 and 317.4. You all have a good evening.